Jurassic World Dominion is a 2022 American science fiction action film directed by Colin Trevorrow, who co-wrote the screenplay with Emily Carmichael from a story by Derek Connolly and Trevorrow. The sequel to Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, it is the third and final installment in the Jurassic World trilogy as well as the sixth installment in the Jurassic Park franchise, concluding the storyline of the original Jurassic Park trilogy. The film has an ensemble cast, including Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, DeWanda Wise, Mamadou Athie, B.D. Wong, and Omar Sy. Dern, Goldblum, and Neill reprise their roles from the Jurassic Park trilogy, appearing together for the first time since the 1993 film. It is set 4 years after the events of Fallen Kingdom, with dinosaurs now living alongside humans around the world. The film follows Owen Grady and Claire Dearing as they embark on a rescue mission, while Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler rejoin Ian Malcolm to expose a conspiracy by the genomics corporation Biosyn. Planning of the film began in 2014, before the release of the first Jurassic World film in the trilogy. Filming took place from February to November 2020, with set locations including Canada, England's Pinewood Studios, and the country of Malta. Legendary Pictures was not involved in the film's production due to the expiration of its 4-year partnership with Universal. Jurassic World Dominion premiered in Mexico City on May 23, 2022, and was released in the United States on June 10, 2022, by Universal Pictures. Like its predecessors, the film was a financial success, grossing $1 billion worldwide and becoming the second highest grossing film of 2022, the third film released during the COVID-19 pandemic to gross $1 billion, and the fourth film in the franchise to gross $1 billion. However, it received generally negative reviews from critics, who felt that the franchise had run its course. Plot: 4 years after the Lockwood Estate incident and the volcanic eruption on Isla Nublar, once extinct dinosaurs freely roam the Earth and cause ecological disasters and animal cruelty. Amid global efforts to control the invasive species, Biosyn Genetics establishes a dinosaur preserve in Italy's Dolomites which conducts genomics research, ostensibly for pharmacological applications. Claire Dearing, Zia Rodriguez, and Franklin Webb, still with the Dinosaur Protection Group, investigate illegal dinosaur breeding sites. Claire's partner, Owen Grady, helps relocate stray dinosaurs. At their remote cabin in the Sierra Nevada mountains, Claire and Owen secretly raise 14-year-old Maisie Lockwood and protect her from nefarious groups seeking to exploit her unique genetic makeup. When Blue arrives with an asexually reproduced hatchling, Maisie names it Beta. Increasingly frustrated living in seclusion, Maisie sneaks away. Mercenaries kidnap her and capture Beta. Meanwhile, swarms of giant locusts are decimating U.S. crops. Paleobotanist Dr. Ellie Sattler observes that corporate-grown crops using Biosyn seeds are left uneaten, raising suspicions that they created the insects. Ellie takes a captured locust to her former partner, paleontologist Dr. Alan Grant. They determine that the locust was genetically engineered with Cretaceous period arthropod DNA and contemporary migratory locusts. Franklin, now with the CIA's Dangerous Species Division, informs Claire and Owen that Maisie may have been taken to Malta. Upon arrival, Claire and Owen infiltrate a dinosaur black market with Owen's former Jurassic World colleague Barry Sembin, who is leading a raid for French intelligence. Carnivorous dinosaurs are unleashed during the foray, wreaking havoc. Claire and Owen learn that Maisie and Beta were transported to Biosyn. Sympathetic cargo pilot Kayla Watts agrees to fly them there. Chaotician Dr. Ian Malcolm, now working for Biosyn, has sought Ellie's help to expose CEO Dr. Lewis Dodgson after communications director Ramsey Cole warned him of Dodgson's illegal activities. Dodgson is exploiting dinosaurs and coerces former InGen geneticist Dr. Henry Wu to modify the transgenic locust to control the world's food supply. Wu denounces the plan, saying it will cause global famine as the locusts spread unchecked. Wu meets Maisie and explains that his former colleague, Dr. Charlotte Lockwood, used her own DNA to replicate and give birth to the genetically identical Maisie. Charlotte altered Maisie's DNA to prevent her from inheriting the fatal disease which she had. Wu believes that Maisie and Beta's asexual conception and DNA are key to creating a pathogen to halt the locust outbreak. A Quetzalcoatlus attacks Kayla's plane in Biosyn's airspace, forcing Owen and Kayla to crash land while Claire is ejected. After separate encounters with a Therizinosaurus, Chiroraptor, and Dilophosaurus, the three regroup. Inside Biosyn, Ian and Ramsey guide Ellie and Alan into accessing a restricted lab to obtain a locust DNA sample. They encounter Maisie there, and take her with them. Discovering the breach, Dodgson incinerates the locusts to destroy evidence. The resulting inferno escapes through an air vent, sparking a wildfire around the site. Alan, Ellie, and Maisie barely escape the facility before finding Ian. They meet Owen, Claire, and Kayla, with Ramsey later joining them. Dodgson flees with dinosaur embryos via a hyperloop. He becomes trapped in a tunnel and killed by three Dilophosaurus. As the group works together, Owen captures Beta. They and Wu escape in a Biosyn helicopter during a battle among a Giganotosaurus, the Therizinosaurus, and the first park's veteran Tyrannosaurus rex. Ellie and Alan rekindle their relationship before testifying with Ian and Ramsey against Biosyn. Owen, Claire, and Maisie return home and reunite Beta and Blue. Wu releases a host locust carrying the pathogen, gradually eradicating the swarms. Dinosaurs and humans adapt to a new coexistence, and the United Nations declares Biosyn Valley an international dinosaur sanctuary. Cast: Chris Pratt as Owen Grady, ethologist, U.S. Navy veteran, and former Jurassic World employee responsible for training velociraptors. Claire's boyfriend and Maisie's adoptive father. Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire Deering, former Jurassic World manager and founder of the Dinosaur Protection Group. Owen's girlfriend and Maisie's adoptive mother. Laura Dern as Dr. Ellie Sattler, paleobotanist and consultant who traveled to John Hammond's original Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum as Dr. Ian Malcolm, chaos theory mathematician, former consultant for Jurassic Park, and a key figure in the San Diego incident depicted in The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Sam Neill as Dr. Alan Grant, paleontologist, a consultant who traveled to John Hammond's original Jurassic Park, and a survivor of the Isla Sorna expedition depicted in Jurassic Park 3. DeWanda Wise as Kayla Watts, former U.S. Air Force pilot who aids Owen and Claire on their mission. Mamadou Athi as Ramsey Cole, head of communications of Biosyn Genetics and Lewis Dodgson's delegate. Secretly allied with Ian Malcolm and his friends to bring Dodgson down. Isabella Sermon as Maisie Lockwood, genetic descendant of Benjamin Lockwood's daughter whom he raised as his granddaughter, under the care of Owen and Claire. A troubled, courageous and resourceful 14-year-old mentored by Owen in understanding animal behavior, she helps dinosaurs who enter human settlements. Sermon also plays the young Charlotte Lockwood, and Elva Trill plays her as an adult. Campbell Scott as Dr. Lewis Dodgson, Biosyn CEO who masterminds the abductions of Maisie and Beta and hires Soyana Santos and Henry Wu to sell dinosaurs to the black markets and breed a swarm of giant hybrid locusts. Scott replaces Cameron Thor from Jurassic Park. B.D. Wong as Dr. Henry Wu, lead geneticist of the dinosaur cloning programs at Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. Maisie's late mother was one of his colleagues. Omar S.Y. as Barry Sembin, former animal trainer who worked with Owen at Jurassic World and is now a French intelligence agent. Justice Smith as Franklin Webb, former Jurassic World technician and dinosaur rights activist. Daniela Pineda as Dr. Zia Rodriguez, a paleoveterinarian and dinosaur rights activist. Scott Hayes also appears as Rain Delacourt, a poacher who captures Maisie and Beta for biosyn. Deacon Lockman appears as Soyana Santos, a dinosaur smuggler. Christopher Palaha appears as Wyatt Huntley, a CIA officer working undercover as one of Delacourt's men. Caleb Heron appears as Jeremy Bernie, a CIA analyst. Freya Parker appears as Denise Roberts, a biosyn employee. Varadas Thuo appears as Shira, a fish and wildlife officer, and Dimitri Vegas Tavares appears as a Maltese mercenary. Production. Development. During early conversations about Jurassic World, executive producer Steven Spielberg told director Colin Trevorrow that he was interested in having more films made. In April 2014, Trevorrow announced that sequels to Jurassic World had been discussed. He said that they wanted to create something less arbitrary and episodic, which could potentially arc into a series that would feel like a complete story. Trevorrow, later asked how much planning he had put into a trilogy while he was filming Jurassic World in 2014, replied that he knew where the story would end. He said that planning the beginning, middle, and end of the trilogy ahead of time is crucial to a franchise like this if you really want to bring people along with you and make sure they stay interested. It needs to be thought through on that level. It can't be arbitrary. The earlier Jurassic Park movies had pretty clear definitive endings. They were much more episodic. In May 2015, Trevorrow expressed his desire to have different directors work on future films, believing that others could bring different qualities to the series. I think this is one of those franchises like Mission Impossible and like what they're currently doing with Star Wars that is going to really benefit from new voices and new points of view. Down the line, looking at the way that franchises have been working, I'm pretty confident this is the right answer for this one. We need to keep it new and keep it changing and constantly let it evolve. He said that the series would not always be about a dinosaur theme park, and future films could explore the concept of dinosaurs and humans. Coexisting. Jurassic World producer Frank Marshall confirmed plans for a third Jurassic World film later in 2015, and Universal Pictures chair Donna Langley said that Trevorrow and Spielberg had a story idea for the film. Chris Pratt, who played Owen in Jurassic World, was signed for future films in the series. Trevorrow said that the friendship in Jurassic World between Owen and Barry could continue into the sequels. He also said that Bryce Dallas Howard's character, Claire, would evolve the most during the Jurassic World trilogy. Pre-production. Universal announced in February 2018 that the untitled film, known then as Jurassic World 3, would be released on June 11, 2021. It was also announced that Trevorrow would write the script with Emily Carmichael, based on a story by Trevorrow and writing partner, Derek Connolly. Like the previous films, Marshall and Patrick Crowley would be producers and Trevorrow and Spielberg would return as executive producers. A month after the announcement, Trevorrow was also confirmed as director. J. A. Bayona had directed the previous installment, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Trevorrow was inspired by Bayona's work on the film, saying that it made me want to finish what we started. Spielberg had asked Trevorrow to return as director. Trevorrow had been set to direct Star Wars Episode 9 before leaving the project in September 2017, and Episode 9 was the finale of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. He applied his experience in the Star Wars project, which he viewed as a practice run for creating a finale film, to Jurassic World Dominion. People who worked with Trevorrow on Episode 9 later joined him for Jurassic World Dominion. Legendary Entertainment Co. financed the two previous films but was not involved with the third, since its 5-year contract with Universal expired in 2018. Writing. Trevorrow met Carmichael in 2015, after seeing a short film of hers. Trevorrow was also impressed with Carmichael's writing on Pacific Rim Uprising and a remake of The Black Hole, leading him to choose her as a co-writer for Jurassic World 3. Trevorrow and Carmichael were writing the script in April 2018. Trevorrow said that the third film would be a science thriller, describing it as the Jurassic World film which would most closely match the tone of Jurassic Park. He said about the third film and its predecessors, "I have a dinosaur movie that I've always wanted to see, and it took 2 movies to earn it." Trevorrow later described the film as a celebration of everything that has existed in the franchise up until now, and compared it to the Jason Bourne and James Bond films. During the development of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom in 2015, Trevorrow said that that film's storyline could involve dinosaurs becoming open source. A number of entities around the world could create their own dinosaurs for a variety of purposes. Scenes and concepts about the integration of dinosaurs into the world were removed from the Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom script to be saved for the third film and to keep the second film's story focused. According to Bayona, "There were moments that we thought, this is more like a Jurassic 3 scene, so we took them out from the script. Some of those scenes we thought were better seen in a world where dinosaurs had spread all over the world." Colin, from time to time, came to me and said, "I want this character to say that line because this is a moment that's referencing something I want to use in Jurassic 3." Trevorrow did not want to depict dinosaurs terrorizing cities, which he considered unrealistic. He wanted to honor Michael Crichton's novels Jurassic Park and The Lost World, believing that humans and dinosaurs battling it out in the city streets is a different kind of film than what he would have done. Trevorrow described a world where a dinosaur might run out in front of your car on a foggy back road, or invade your campground looking for food. A world where dinosaur interaction is unlikely but possible, the same way we watch out for bears or sharks. We hunt animals, we traffic them, we herd them, we breed them, we invade their territory and pay the price, but we don't go to war with them. About the film's realism, Trevorrow said that dinosaurs would not be everywhere all the time. "I think any kind of global acceptance that they are just around doesn't feel real to me because, even now when you think of animals, when was the last time you saw a tiger walking down the street? We know there are tigers. We know they're out there. But to me, it's very important that we keep this grounded in the context of our relationship with wild animals today." For inspiration, he watched episodes of Planet Earth and alien invasion films with a realistic perspective. Trevorrow said that his goal for the Jurassic World trilogy was to have Claire's line from the first film disproved in the final film. With input from Carmichael and cast members, the film's storyline evolved from Trevorrow's initial vision. During production of the previous Jurassic World films, Howard kept a list of possible ideas for the final film. Trevorrow consulted the list while writing the script with Carmichael. He considered the Malta black market a departure from the dinosaur auction scene in Fallen Kingdom. "I felt that what would really happen is a hive of scum and villainy. I wanted to see that. The writers wanted Dr. Ellie Sattler, a paleobotanist in the Jurassic Park trilogy, to lead the story in Dominion." Trevorrow consulted scientists for story ideas, seeking to depict a global ecological crisis caused by genetic tampering which would be first noticed by a paleobotanist. He learned about insect allies, which inspired the film's locust plot. Trevorrow and Carmichael also consulted with screenwriters Michael Arndt, Christy Wilson Cairns, and David Kerp, who wrote the first 2 Jurassic Park films. Trevorrow wanted the film to explore the idea of dinosaurs created by people other than Dr. Henry Wu. He said that Wu, as the only person who knew how to create a dinosaur, was far-fetched after 30 years of this technology existing in the film's universe. Biosyn, which appears in Crichton's novels but is absent from their film adaptations, debuts in Dominion. Trevorrow also wanted to see the return of Louis Dodgson, a prominent character in the novels who appeared only briefly in the first Jurassic Park film. Other returning characters from the original trilogy included Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. Ian Malcolm, rejoining Ellie Sattler. According to Trevorrow, striking a balance of screen time for the trio and the newer characters was the most difficult aspect of developing the film's story. Wu, who also appeared in the first film and the Jurassic World films, returned as well. Other characters from the series including Lex and Tim Murphy and Kelly Curtis were considered, but Trevorrow felt that the film had enough returning characters. Spielberg advised Trevorrow to remember the importance of the film's characters. Don't forget that these are humans. These are real people, scientists, parents going through something spectacular, something fantastic. Casting. In 2017, Laura Dern expressed an interest in reprising her role. Trevorrow announced in April 2018 that Pratt and Howard would reprise their roles in the previous films, and other characters in Fallen Kingdom will realize major characters. Howard said later that year that her main desire for the film was to include more characters from the Jurassic Park trilogy, including Ellie Sattler and Ian Malcolm. Trevorrow said that Sam Neill and Dern might reprise their roles in the film. Neill had played Dr. Alan Grant in earlier films. In September 2019, Neill, Dern, and Goldblum were confirmed as returning in major roles. They appear throughout the film, Neill and Dern's first appearances in the series since Jurassic Park 3. It was the trio's first film appearance together since the original Jurassic Park film, although Goldblum briefly reprised his role in Fallen Kingdom. Goldblum and Neill had starred in their own Jurassic Park sequel, but Trevorrow considered Dominion as Dern's film because its plot is partially driven by her character. Trevorrow collaborated with the three actors to ensure that their characters would be consistent. He said that the film would answer questions about the characters. Who are these people now? What do they make of the new world they're living in, and how do they feel about being part of its history? Trevorrow, Dern, and Neill agreed about having Grant and Sattler reunite romantically. Neill said that he would get into shape for his role by running. Mamadou Athie and DeWanda Wise were cast in lead roles in October 2019 without auditioning. Trevorrow was impressed by Athie's performance in The Front Runner, and Wise was cast after Trevorrow saw her in the television series She's Gotta Have It. At the end of 2019, Justice Smith and Daniela Pineda were confirmed as reprising their roles in Fallen Kingdom. Isabella Sermon would also return as Maisie from that film. In early 2020, Jake Johnson and Omar Sy were announced as reprising their roles from Jurassic World, and Icon Lockman and Scott Hayes were cast. B.D. Wong was confirmed as reprising his role as Dr. Henry Wu. Campbell Scott was cast in June 2020 as Dodgson. The role, played by Cameron Thor in the original Jurassic Park, was recast for Jurassic World Dominion after Thor's imprisonment for sexual assault. Pratt compared Jurassic World Dominion to Avengers: Endgame, another film in which he appeared. A number of characters returned to both from previous films. Andy Buckley said that he had been signed to reprise his role, but his character was dropped in a rewrite. Filming. On February 19, 2020, a production unit used drones to film aerial scenes at Cathedral Grove on Canada's Vancouver Island. Principal photography began in British Columbia on February 24, and the film's title was announced the following day as Jurassic World Dominion. Canadian filming ended in early March 2020. Production moved to England, where a major location was Pinewood Studios. Filming was also done in Malta. The film's budget was between $165 million and $185 million. John Schwartzman was its cinematographer, returning to the position after working with Trevorrow on the first Jurassic World film. Schwartzman shot the film with 35mm film, 65mm film, and VistaVision. Some night scenes were shot digitally to aid the visual effects team during post-production. It had the working title of Arcadia, the name of the ship which transported dinosaurs to the U.S. mainland in the previous film. COVID-19 pandemic. Locations and sets. Creatures. The film uses more animatronic dinosaurs than the previous Jurassic World films did. 18 animatronics of various sizes were created for the film by designer John Nolan. Partial animatronics and puppetry were also used. Like the previous films, Industrial Light and Magic worked on CGI versions of the animals. Animatronics and puppets were used for close ups with humans, and CGI was used for certain movements. ILM scanned miniature clay maquettes of each dinosaur to create a digital version, which was then given to Nolan's team to create the dinosaurs. Paleontologist Jack Horner, a longtime advisor for the series, returned for Dominion. Paleontologist Steve Bruzet was also a consultant. Trevorrow wanted to strike a balance between realism and awesome movie scary. Jurassic Park 3 had featured velociraptors with quills along the head, but Dominion introduces feathered dinosaurs to the series. Within the previous film's storyline, the dinosaurs were created by InGen and partially engineered with frog DNA to explain inaccuracies in their appearance. In Dominion, feathered dinosaurs are introduced with advanced methods by biosyn. Pyroraptor and Therizinosaurus are among the feathered dinosaurs introduced in the film. Nolan and ILM researched to accurately simulate feathers. Trevorrow intended the Therizinosaurus encounter with Claire to be a quiet and still and suspenseful scene, more similar to the original Jurassic Park than the action scenes in the Jurassic World trilogy. He noted that Claire never really had even one sequence where it was just her alone with a dinosaur. The film's dinosaur antagonist is a Giganotosaurus, which Trevorrow saved for the trilogy's final installment to set up a rivalry with the T-Rex from Isla Nublar seen in previous films. He said about the Giganotosaurus, "I wanted something that felt like the Joker. It just wants to watch the world burn." The showdown between the dinosaurs was written by Trevorrow. He filmed it primarily from the human's perspective, hoping that this would make it feel like it was actually happening to you. An animatronic Giganotosaurus was created, which Nolan said was probably the biggest challenge for his team. The dinosaur was expected to take 6 months to build, but his team only had about 4 months to finish it. Trevorrow wanted to reuse an animatronic created for Fallen Kingdom for the T-Rex, but it had deteriorated. Dimetrodon, a synapsid which existed before the dinosaurs, also appears in the film. Although the creature had appeared in franchise merchandise over the years, Dominion was its film debut. Another new creature is the Atrociraptor, which Trevorrow described as brutish compared to velociraptors. Hybrid dinosaurs had prominent roles in the earlier Jurassic World films, but none appear in Dominion because Trevorrow felt that the concept had narratively run its course. Among the returning dinosaurs is Dilophosaurus, appearing in the flesh for the first time since the original Jurassic Park film. Like the first film, no CGI was used to create the Dilophosaurus. Nolan created animatronic locusts 30 inches in length. Post-production. After filming ended, Trevorrow worked on post-production in a converted barn behind his UK home. The film's release had been delayed for a year due to the pandemic, allowing Trevorrow time to work on visual effects, sound mixing, and scoring as separate processes. When the visual effects were almost done, he screened the nearly finished film for friends and Jurassic Park fans to obtain feedback and make improvements. Trevorrow said that it was a much more involved process with the audience this time. The film was completed on November 6, 2021. With a runtime of 2 hours and 26 minutes, it is the longest film in the Jurassic Park series. The film was initially 2 hours and 40 minutes, prompting concern from the studio about whether moviegoers would watch such a long film during a pandemic. Trevorrow then worked to shorten the theatrical cut to under 2 hours, although he expressed interest in releasing a director's cut with the deleted footage. About 14 minutes were removed from the theatrical cut, including 5 minutes which were released online as a prologue. Other deleted scenes include a fight between an oviraptor and a lystrosaurus in the black market and a 2-minute confrontation between Ramsey and Dodgson. The home media release includes an extended cut with the deleted scenes restored. Trevorrow preferred the extended version, his original vision of the film. Music. The film's music was composed by Michael Giacchino, who scored the previous Jurassic World films. It was recorded at England's Abbey Road Studios over a 10-day period which ended in May 2021. Like his previous Jurassic World scores, Giacchino incorporated themes from John Williams's earlier Jurassic Park soundtracks. The score, distributed by Backlot Music, was digitally released on June 3, 2022, and physically released 3 weeks later. Marketing. A 5-minute preview of the film was released in June 2021 with IMAX screenings of F9. Trevorrow had intended for the footage to be the film's first 5 minutes before removing it from the theatrical cut. The footage was posted online on November 23, 2021, as a standalone short film and prologue for Jurassic World Dominion. It is also included in the film's extended home media release. The prologue, which includes a Cretaceous segment where a Giganotosaurus kills a T-Rex in battle, establishes the main film's rivalry between the cloned dinosaurs. Universal partnered with Olympians Mikaela Shiffrin, Nathan Chen, and Shaun White, who appeared in commercials promoting the film and the 2022 Winter Olympics. In the ads, each athlete has a dinosaur encounter in a snowy environment. The first trailer was released online on February 10, 2022. 4 months before the film's release and later than those for previous Jurassic World films. Broadcast during Super Bowl LVI, it had 86 million views on social media websites during the 24 hours after it aired, nearly 3 times the post-Super Bowl traffic of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. A second trailer was released on April 28. Universal established an in-universe website for the fictional Department of Prehistoric Wildlife a month before the film's release, with dinosaur sightings around the world. An exhibit in London's Trafalgar Square several weeks before the film's release included an interactive billboard with the Giganotosaurus, which reacted to people passing by. Mattel and the Lego Group sold toys based on the film, as did Funko and Bandai's Tamagotchi. An expansion pack tied into the film was released for the video game Jurassic World Evolution 2 shortly after its theatrical premiere. The Smithsonian Institution produced educational products based on the film. Barbasol released limited edition cans of its shaving cream with dinosaurs from the film. Jeep, several of whose vehicles appeared in Dominion, aired a dinosaur-themed commercial as a tie-in to the film. Other promotional partners included CKE Restaurants and 10,000 Villages. Release. Theaters. Jurassic World Dominion premiered in Mexico City on May 23, 2022, and began its theatrical rollout on June 1 in Mexico and South Korea. In the United States, Dominion was released theatrically by Universal Pictures on June 10. Its scheduled release on June 11, 2021, was delayed by the pandemic. Home media. The film was released for digital purchase and rental on July 14, 2022, and was released on 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and DVD on August 16. Its DVD includes an extended version of Jurassic World Dominion with the 14 minutes of cut footage restored, bringing the total runtime to 160 minutes. The extended edition received more favorable reviews, and is considered an improvement of the theatrical cut. The theatrical and extended versions debuted on Universal's Peacock website on September 2, 2022, as part of an 18-month deal in which the film will move to Amazon Prime Video for 10 months before returning to Peacock for a final 4 months. After the 18-month deal, it will air on Starz as part of Universal's post-Pay 1 licensing agreement with the network. Reception. Box office. As of October 7, 2022, Jurassic World Dominion has grossed $376 million in the United States and Canada, and $625.1 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $1.001 billion. It is the second highest grossing film of 2022, and was the 50th film to pass the billion-dollar mark, the fourth Jurassic film, and the third film released during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the US and Canada, the film was expected to gross about $125 million from 4,676 theaters in its opening weekend. After making $59.55 million on its first day, weekend estimates were raised to $142 million. Its debut earnings were $145.1 million, topping the box office. It was the best opening weekend for a non-superhero film during the pandemic, with Deadline Hollywood calling its performance amazing given its unfavorable critical reception and mediocre audience exit scores. This was the fourth highest opening weekend for a Universal film, behind its two predecessors and Furious 7. When it opened, it had the third highest number of screens of any film, behind The Lion King and Top Gun: Maverick. The film earned $59.2 million in its second weekend, topping newcomer Lightyear to remain in first place. In its third weekend, it earned $26.7 million and fell to third place behind newcomer Elvis and Top Gun: Maverick. Outside the US and Canada, the film earned $55.7 million in 15 early offshore markets and $178 million in 72 markets during its second weekend. It added $76.1 million during its third weekend, and another $43 million in its fourth. By the film's fifth weekend, it was the fourth Hollywood film since the start of the pandemic to pass the $800 million mark. Worldwide IMAX earnings totaled $53.5 million by October 2, 2022, with the top markets China, Japan, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and France. Critical response. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 29% of 390 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 4.8/10. The website's consensus reads, "Jurassic World Dominion might be a bit of an improvement over its immediate predecessors in some respects, but this franchise has lumbered a long way down from its classic start." Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 38 out of 100, based on 59 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. It is the lowest-rated film of the series on both websites. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A and to F scale, while Post-Track reported that film-goers gave it a 73% overall positive score, with 57% saying that they would definitely recommend it. Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune gave the film 2 out of 4 stars, describing Dominion as the franchise's weakest entry, criticizing its dialogue and calling Owen and Claire thinly conceived. For Rolling Stone, David Fear wrote that compared to the original Jurassic Park, Dominion feels like a contractual obligation at best, and a DOA attempt to wring one last drop out of an already depleted brand at worst. According to a Variety review, of the 3 Jurassic World movies, Dominion is the least silly and most entertaining. But that's not saying much. This Stop to ask if they should cycle's human characters were never especially interesting, and why should we trust Trevorrow to suddenly make them so? The Jewish Chronicle critic Linda Marek gave the film 2 out of 5 stars and wrote, "Overall, and bar a few good performances, Dominion fails on almost all accounts by delivering a story that is too preposterous even for a franchise that has demanded that we suspend disbelief for the last 3 decades." Other reviews were mixed. Mark Feeney of the Boston Globe wrote, The movie has its moments, and the CGI really is fabulous, but this go-round feels fairly tired. It's also too long, and much of it is paced in a somewhat leisurely fashion. For Tribune News Service, Katie Walsh praised the performances of newcomers DeWanda Wise and Mamadou Athie and called the motorcycle chase scene the film's best and most innovative set piece, but called Dominion not exactly satisfying, lacking in true suspense, tension, and the kind of thrilling spectacle that Spielberg so effortlessly mastered in the first Jurassic Park, a cinematic high that we'll be chasing forever. Accolades.